Okay, sure.
Angry, 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 Aussie. 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 Angry, 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 Aussie. 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 Angry, 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 angry.
That was a weird start. Making a video. So just gonna set this stuff up. Okay. That's not framed up properly. That's a bit better. Hey, Megaleech. Let's try that. Okay. Okay. Right, so I'm going to do this. This might take a little while, but let's go. G'day, cocktail lovers. I'm going to do a little taste comparison tonight, something I've been meaning to do for a while. I think this might be both a bit of fun and informative, might be of more use to Australian viewers, but also for people who just want to know, what's the state of Australian whiskey like? Anyone who knows me knows I think the state of Australian whiskey is pretty darn good. There's a lot of them there. There are a couple of there that aren't Australian, but the vast majority of them are, and they're top notch. They're from quite a few different distilleries, and I'm only scratching the surface of the amount of distilleries in Australia making top quality whiskey, but I do have some good ones, and they're great. But what I've been meaning to do for a while is entry-level whiskies, and that's entry-level on two fronts. One is it's the easier to approach whiskies, not the really robust single malts, particularly the high proof ones, but also from a price point, these are the most accessible ones that are easy to get in Australia, because you will have heard me rant a few times, and if you know anything about Australian prices, alcohol super expensive because of taxes. Well, for two reasons, really. Taxes is the big one. An enormous part of the cost is taxes, with the view that whiskey, well, not just whiskey, alcohol is a bit of a health issue, and we need to fund the health system with it. And look, that's a really complex issue, and I might get someone who knows about the Australian super tax on alcohol to explain it one day. But it's not completely unique to Australia, but it's pretty rare the way the alcohol is taxed here. The second reason alcohol can be very expensive here is if it's from overseas, it costs a lot to ship stuff to Australia. We're in the middle of nowhere. And if it's local stuff, it's almost always from smaller independent distillers that can't produce at scale that allows them to compete price-wise with the big international brands. What I was waiting for was for a couple of these whiskies to come on market, because I knew they were coming, and also for a couple of them to be on special to make this a little bit affordable for me, because the general price for these entry-level whiskies is about a bottle and a half of Jack Daniel's, say. I don't know why I've adopted that as my international measure of cost, but I think it's probably not absolutely consistent around the world. It gives you an idea of the sort of premium you're paying for these Australian spirits if I compare it to something really standard that's around the world. And yeah, these in Australian dollars, that means these could be anywhere from $70 to $90 for a bottle. I always tip for Australians, just keep an eye out for specials. I see really good specials from the various outlets semi-regularly. But yeah, these are about, as I said, bottle and a half of Jack Daniels, except for this one, Ned's whiskey, which I've never really tasted before. I did also get this when it was on special. It's pretty close to the same price as a Jack Daniels. And these guys, because I have actually met some people at a whiskey show, they're pretty keen on knocking off the Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, Johnny Walker things. And also they're pretty big on the premix market. And I generally don't drink premixes, but I have tried theirs and it's actually really good. I had the Ned's and Dry Ginger Ale. They also do a cola. I was really surprised at how good it was. Not because I had anything against Ned's, it's just I don't like premix, and this was actually quite good. So, introducing Ned's, named after the famous Australian bushranger Ned Kelly, and this is the cheapest. As I said, noticeably, you could get this easily $10 or $20 a bottle cheaper than the other one. So this is comparable to a Jack Daniels, where the others cost about a bottle and a half. This is my old faithful Starward Twofold from Melbourne. Ned's is also distilled in Melbourne. I have a lot of Starward products. Some of their special ones, some of their regular ones. This is their entry-level Twofold double grain Australian whiskey. These are all Australian whiskies, and they're all blended whiskies. So this one has been around for quite a while, probably longer than Ned's, although I'm not sure. And I've been drinking and using this for a while. This was released not very long ago from the Archie Rose Distillery. They're Sydney-based. They have quite a few of their whiskies and gins. They make really good product. And they've brought out a range they call, let me see, I'm going to get this right because I always use the wrong word. They call it fundamental spirits. I was going to say essential. So, and again, this was trying to get a more attractive price point for a lot of the punters out there. They did a vodka, a gin, and a whiskey. And you see, I have tasted this. It's quite good, actually. The Starward is one I've been having for ages and like. The gin and vodka in this range are also quite good. Oh, actually, I should stress, I've never had the Ned's before. So this is a real blind taste I'm going to do. The fourth in this little batch is another one from Sydney, from the Manly Distilling Company. They're Coastal Stone, distilled by the sea. These are all 40% ABV, so very approachable. As I said, they're entry level, not just on price, but in terms of how strong they are. So it'll be very interesting to see which of these sort of makes any dent in the market. The Archie Rose, the Starward, and the Coastal Stone are all comparable retail. There can be a bit of variety depending on the outlet. Like I said, I always look for specials anyway, but the Ned's is noticeably cheaper. So that's the shootout. 2 Sydney whiskies, 2 Melbourne whiskies, all 40% ABV. 2 I have tried, 2 I've never tried. I'm trying for the first time here. And I've had them all put in little Glen can glasses for me by Mrs. Angry. So I don't know which is in which. And I'm going to give them a taste. Now, because I'm sort of pitching this to people who maybe don't know a lot about the whiskies and should they get into it, I hope you appreciate I don't know how to say the words that the real whiskey people know how to say. So I'm going to be very vague, but it'll probably be good, not as good. But we'll see if I can come up with anything intelligent to say. Tasting this one, well, I'm smelling, oh man, the aroma on that is really nice. Really rich honey and maybe a little bit floral. Oh, but yeah, sometimes the alcohol you get, like the nostril hairs burn, not at all in this. Oh, it's a really pleasant aroma. We're going to dive in and give it a taste as well. Noticeably sharper on the palate than the aroma. Still very nice. Still that whole honey thing going on. It's almost a, not like a fireball cinnamon, but just that really nice sort of light cooking spice element in there. Very nice. Okay, bottle number 2. give it the aroma test. This, for want of a better word, smells a bit more alcohol-y than the other one. So not as appealing on the nose, not terrible, but definitely not as appealing. Let's see how that translates to the taste. That's more consistent with the nose. Oh, what's the... I did mention I'm very bad at the words. I think there's a really... Maybe it's literally the grain. It's not that these are corn whiskies, but there is an element in this one that actually tastes like corn to me. Okay, sample number 3, giving this one a bit of a nosing. This is more like number 2 than number 1. Sorry, my 14-year-old brain just really wanted to giggle that I said that, but forget me, I'm just being silly. Yeah. It smells like whiskey, so let's taste it. Well, this is a bright, sort of fruity sweetness. They're very at odds with how it smells, but just very light and bright. Like I said, even like an almost citrus fruitiness in there, which is not something I usually equate with whiskey. But like I said, I'm really bad at coming up with good words for it. Okay, the 4th one. What do I think of this one? This one actually smells, it's more like that wood smell, the whiskey barrel smell, than the other 3. Bit musty, and not in a bad way. It's that flavour you get. There's like wood or maybe even wet paper. You get that in a lot of whiskey. So I'm going to taste this one. Yep, just very, very light honey-ish. It is quite hard to pick a favourite among these. Possibly depends what mood you're in. Now, aroma-wise, number 1 stood out to me, but taste-wise, interesting. Number 2. Number 3. It's so hard to pick a significant difference between these. Seriously, they'd all be good to introduce someone to whiskey. Nothing stands out, which I guess some people say, well, it's because they're just the basic ones. And that would be a fair point, that none of them really have a character that leaps out and grabs you. This one, I'm going to guess, is Starward's Twofold, because it was the one that I thought was fruity, and that's a thing that Twofold promotes himself on. Let's see if I can guess that right. Number 2, I got it. It was Starward's Twofold. I do like this. I'm not saying I like it significantly more than the others, but I could pick it. This one, because I have, of the 2 that I've tasted, I'm going to try and guess that this is the Archie Rose, which would be the number 1. And I was wrong. That's the Coastal Stone. So the Coastal Stone had the nicest aroma. And so this one, okay, that's the Ned's. And that's the Archie Rose. So I'm going to do a quick retaste knowing this is the cheapest one. Like, does it taste cheap? And I mean, it can be 20% cheaper than the other ones. All right, I'm going to go my old favorite Twofold. Oh, it is just these light, bright notes with just a really interesting fruitiness under it. And the Ned's, It's a more down the line whiskey taste. Nothing wrong with that. I probably it might have been the power of suggestion when I tasted this. I was pretty sure it was twofold, but no huge recommendation of any one of these over the other. It's probably going to depend what you're after. But I'm also going to do one more little experiment because I rarely drink whiskey straight. And it's usually only to do a comparison of tastes. I normally have cocktails and the old-fashioned thing. What I have here is my little instant old-fashioned mix. It's my brown sugar syrup and some Angostura bitters. And I'm just going to put a couple of drops in each. I should have done this before I identified what they were. Oh well. I'm going to see if any of them particularly lend themselves to being turned into an old-fashioned. Just a couple. Oh, that was way too much. Okay. Couple of drops. Use Gaz Regan's finger to stir. Okay, so this is Coastal Stone as an old-fashioned. Very good. Okay. Try not to break my glasses when I do this. I didn't think this through anyway. Sorry, which one was this? This is Ned's as an old-fashioned. Oh yeah, Ned's makes a really serviceable old-fashioned. Twofold. Bloody slipped and put way too much of the old-fashioned mix in here. Which honestly tastes good, but I've completely overpowered the whiskey with how much the old-fashioned mix I put in. So this would be the Archie Rose. Well, they all make a good old-fashioned. So I am pleased to report, if you see any of these and feel like getting them, I would not warn you against them. None of them were dodgy. Given how much cheaper Ned's was, I was wondering if I'd go, oh yeah, that's cheap. And I don't feel that at all. I wouldn't call any of them particularly subtle. I think the twofold sets itself apart more from the others, but that doesn't mean you're going to like it more just because it's a little bit more different than the others. But it's a great range, and I personally, being parochial as I am, would love to see Australian whiskies taking over a bit more. So go, you good things. And yeah, if any of these were available anywhere else in the world, I think Ned's in particular might be attacking the export market. I know Starwood do export to a few markets. I don't think you would get either of these outside of Australia right now. But if you're in Australia, they're all options. I recommend you try them. And I'm probably going to tip those all into the one big old-fashioned and sit down and have the first little drinky since I had COVID. So yes, I had COVID. And I'm pretty much over it now. And I thought I'd try some alcohol after staying off the alcohol for over a week. Because I'm a good boy. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting or entertaining. And I hope to see you again sometime soon. But until I do, I will say cheers. Okay, how much fucking time did I spend doing that? 17 minutes. Okay. Okie doke. Let's go. Get some shit out of the way. Fuck it. Let me sit down. My focus is wandering. I'll strictly Sega. Sorry, I'm just seeing there's been a bunch of chat going on while I was doing that. In terms of sugar syrup, Using white sugar. For most purposes, a white sugar syrup, or at the best, sort of raw sugar, at most raw sugar is probably your best option. Brown sugar is going to change the flavor of the drink. So I use brown sugar syrup for things like old fashions and whatnot. So that's a whole thing. Shieldsy, I'm alive. And hello, Celtic King. Who else is? I'm sorry, Dr. Jones. Hello. I do feel like I'm rebounding. I don't have an enormous amount of stamina at the moment, but I am rebounding. And hello, Greg. Oh, goodness gracious me. All right, I might make an old-fashioned reset. I've got some ice here. Let me see. Little glass. These stuck together, these bits of ice now? No, I'll put that in there. There we go. I've got these 4 little samples. Ugh. Go over here without knocking over anything over. All right. Pour them all in. Pour them all in. Okay. Well, that was an interesting discovery to me. Yes, Shieldsy, like with my long hair, particularly because I've just washed it so it's all fluffy. I look like some weird Unix programmer who's escaped from his hole in the ground. I absolutely agree. Okay. What else have I got? Look, I'm going to top this up with the Neds. I've got my old-fashioned mix here. Get the stirring finger. Top it up with Ned's whiskey. Let's see, stirring finger. Old-fashioned mix. It's probably enough of that. This will probably taste better cold, actually. Where's my peeler? Got an orange. Gonna peel a bit of an orange. Shiza. Go back there. Okay, is this one? A little bit, maybe. All right. Guys, just where we're going. Money for nothing for Dire Straits. From Dr. Jones's comment. I get it. Oh wait, I had a little skewer here too. Where'd I put it? There it is. Let's do another short video as well a bit later. See how I'm feeling. Celtic, do I watch my old videos? Sometimes, usually if someone comments on them, or sometimes, weirdly, YouTube will recommend my own videos to me. And sometimes it's like, wow, I haven't seen that one in ages. I'm not going to say it's cringe city, but there is a big bit of, oh, really? I decided that was a good idea. Okay. Yes, that's a thing. I did used to play. I went through a bit where play some classic videos when I had to go to the loo. But this hair is all over the place. I am gonna cut hair. Not this week. I'm not going into the office this week, just out of caution for my COVID status. I'd feel very bad if I gave it to anyone in the office. But if I go back into the city next week, I'll probably get a haircut next week. Not super short like the old days, but probably about that much cut off. I don't know, around the collar, sort of around the collar. And even if it ends up being shorter than I was hoping for, it's like, well, it'll grow back. That's the way your hair is. All right. It's an old-fashioned with mostly Neds. Okay. It's yum. It's much nicer cold. Yummy. Okay, well that's good. And now I've got also cheaper whiskies to use when I'm batching some things. So I don't have to freak out quite as much about using a lot of my expensive things. I did a lot of talking for an old fashioned. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that video for a while, comparing these 4 entry-level Australian whiskies. But I had to get them. And hello, Safa, by the way. And thank you. Yeah, I think I am feeling better. Not much, a little bit of congestion still, not much, but a bit. Not a lot of stamina. I can do stuff and then I'll be really tired after doing stuff. Yep, that is quite pleasant. Now we've got the chill, we've got the dilution. That's a really quite pleasant old-fashioned. Good stuff. Okay, well, I'm kind of happy that the Neds isn't crap, honestly. Jesus, that was full on. Is that soccer? Matilda's is soccer, yeah. 8-0, Philippines. Dang. Big crowd, too. It's half a Perth's population. God, I noticed the Australian Women's Rugby League team is called the Gillaroos. It's like, because the Australian Men's Rugby League team is called the Kangaroos. And so they thought a feminine version of that is Gillaroos. Like, well, no, a Gillaroo is a female jackaroo, is someone who works on a farm or a station. But, what the hey? Dr. Jones been using Eldorado 15, an ancient mariner. Ooh, I could just tell you what rums. My Eldorado might be the only actual Demerara rum I have. Here's my hot take. I think people overstate the importance of particular types of rums in cocktails. Once you start mixing, it gets harder to tell. Tricky say you buried mum. I'm glad it was nice. High in pH, mixed chemical. Yes, you can use it as a base for a tree, which is a lovely idea. Because, what a great memorial that is. A tree, which will just keep growing. Okay, that's yummy. The Incredible Hulk. See, I lose track of the Hulk films. The Incredible Hulk, is that the one where Ed Norton plays Hulk? I've got the Ang Lee one, which is just called Hulk, which is I think the one where Eric Bana is Hulk. And then Ed Norton was Hulk, and none of them really hit with audiences. And then the Avengers movies come along, and they cast Mark Ruffalo, who's won everyone's hearts. Good for him. So Shriki said, your mum was a real hippie. She would have loved being a tree. Absolutely. She would have preferred being a veggie garden. Yeah, I'd be on board with you being a bit weirded out by that. A tree's awesome, though. Tree's great. Oh, again, okay. A little bit of trivia with Incredible Hulk, because Tim Roth is the bad guy in Incredible Hulk. In one of the Marvel series, She-Hulk, which was pretty funny. And because the She-Hulk comics were always pretty much a spoof. But so the character who's She-Hulk is, modern Hulk's cousin. So Mark Ruffalo's cousin. But she ends up having... fuck off, Safa. I mean, it's over a year old. If you haven't fucking watched it, you're not going to fucking watch it. Okay? If you cared, you would have fucking watched it. And I'm not doing massive spoilers. I'm just doing... it is a spoiler, I guess, but you'd see this in a trailer for it. The bad guy is Tim Roth. Well, actually, no. Well, anyway, I won't go into too much detail. Tim Roth, his character, who was the bad guy in the other Hulk, where a different person plays Bruce Banner, and they have a little in-joke about how does that work. Yes, I don't know. They just decided to have a bit of fun with that. Classically, the Hulk was exposed to gamma rays. I think they might have done stuff slightly different in the different movies. Like the Eric Bana one was an origin story. I'm trying hard to remember. It was the Incredible Hulk also an origin story? Because with the modern ones where they put Hulk in Avengers, they don't bother with an origin story. It's going, you've been told the origin story, it's fine. Dr. Jones, you watch... Well, there's a little thing. They have a little joke because Tim Roth was a bad guy and he's playing the same character that he played in The Incredible Hulk, where Ed Norton was Bruce Banner. And so they make a little joke around how does that work? That it was a different guy who was your Hulk. And I actually forget what they did. I just remember they had a joke about it. I quite liked She-Hulk. Probably the only thing I didn't like is how they chose to do the ending. And again, I am definitely not going to spoil that, but I broadly liked She-Hulk. Yeah, there was that fun little joke about different people being Bruce Banner. Okay. That is actually yummy. Oh, I was going to tell Dr. Jones, where do my rums come from? Okay, I'm going to very quickly do this. Okay, so a lot of them are Australian. So, artillery rum. Actual Caribbean rums imported to Melbourne and finished in Melbourne. Aged 8 years in the West Indies. Final maturation in small Oloroso sherry casks in Melbourne. Another Australian rum, Jimmy Rum's Rum. So that comes from Melbourne, right in the Mornington Peninsula. A Sydney rum from the Bricks Distillery. That's a mango rum. Another Australian rum, Hoochery White Rum from Western Australia, I think. That's almost gone. I should finish that. Another one from Bricks. This is their spiced rum. They're called Trail Mix, so that's from Sydney. Another Australian rum. Inner Circle from Queensland. 75.9% alcohol. Hell yeah. Oh, God, there's only a tiny bit left of this. I should get rid of this as well. Because it's just Batavia Iraq, which is Indonesian rum. They started making it when the Dutch were controlling that area. And besides molasses, there's sugar extracted from rice in that as well. That's where it's... Can't really taste the difference. Classic. Smith & Cross, Jamaica rum, pot still. This is real funky, as in it's got a real strong aroma and flavour. 57% alcohol. Ooh, there's another Australian rum, silver, so white cane spirits, not technically rum, from Killick, 59% again. So I have a couple of strong rums. Put those back. God, I haven't used them in so long. Plantation's pineapple rum. Not a lot of that left either. I should finish that off. So Plantation, I think they import from the Caribbean and finish the aging and whatnot in France. And there's a whole bunch left, just a little bit left. This one, Rum Agricole from Martinique, 55%. Oh, there's still some more Australian here. I didn't realise I still had Australian in here. Let's have a look. 2 from Illegal Tender Distillers. Where are they? Are they Western Australia again? Yeah, they're Western Australian. So they're spiced rum and they're Distillers Cut. 45%. 35% for the spiced. Oh, God, there's still more Australian. Man, I've got a lot of Australian rums. But last 2 international rums. Diplomatico, probably my favourite sipping rum, from Venezuela. And a 15-year-old Cuban rum, which I occasionally lord it over Americans. They can't get it because they're dumb embargo. 2 rums from Archie Rose. Their fancy molasses rum, which is 52%. Triple molasses rum, 3 different types of molasses, including the fancy molasses. I think this is only 40%. This is really tasty. This is a really easy sipping rum too. And that must mean, I think I've got a bottle of El Dorado in the cupboard. Sorry. I'm just going to put these things away. Double check what's in the mysterious cupboard of mystery. Yes, I do have El Dorado 15. There we go. I have El Dorado 15, which is Demerara. The area of Demerara, not the sugar. Oh, and I've also got Jimmy Rum Silver in here. Silver cane spirit. Visited them recently and got the 2 bottles from them. So there you go. I have more Australian rum than I thought. Probably 2/3 of my rum's Australian. Ooh, okay. Big call. Depends what you want out of a rum, Dr. Jones. Affordable and incredibly easy drinking is that Archie Rose triple molasses. It is cheaper than a lot of rums and it's really tasty. Depends on if you want a really funky rum, I'd go for something else. So, strictly say, liquor doesn't expire to the point of causing sickness. Yes. Depending how you store it, whiskey can lose its taste. Keep it out of direct light. Keep the bottle very sealed, and you'll reduce the quality. The alcohol stops it from growing things that will kill you, but it definitely loses taste. So, and also the less that's in the bottle, the more air's in there, the more the spirit is going to oxidize, which will also degrade the flavor. Yeah, there are a few things to consider, but yes, you absolutely want to keep your spirits out of direct sunlight. So yeah, Dr. Jones, give me a vibe on what you want out of a whiskey. Yeah, I mean, you get something really full on and brutal, like Inner Circle 75% ABV. Got a lot of kick. But Jimmy Rum, their local one that they've just released, Rum, is really funky. There's another distillery in a different part of Melbourne called Killick, and they love that whole traditional, really funky rum flavor, and they go to enormous trouble to get what's called hogo into their rums. So if you like that really funky rum flavor that's kind of like overripe fruit, overripe banana, or overripe pineapple, Killick are quite good for that. But yeah. Oh yes, Music Elevator. You're seeing friends things on Facebook because Matthew Perry died. Yeah, that's a sadly troubled man. Yes, was the report drowned in a hot tub? There's going to be substances involved, pretty much inevitably. Like I said, he is a sadly troubled man, and cheers to Matthew Perry. It's tough. Well, there's a range of ways to drown in a hot tub. Given who it was, like I said, it's almost definitely going to be substances. But various ways I've heard of people drowning in hot tubs that it wasn't substances. You can slip and fall and hit your head. Well, he's 53 or 54, and yeah, the years of alcohol and drug abuse aged him a bit. A really horrific way to drown, I've heard, happened in a hot tub. A woman with really long hair, her hair got sucked into the intakes and pulled her under, and there was no one else around. And yeah, she drowned because her hair got caught in the intake and it pulled her under, and she couldn't get out. Which is fucking nasty, honestly. So Music over, did a big international online flight simulator event. Bit disconnected from news. The news about Matthew Perry started breaking kind of middle of the day here, I think. Okay, yeah. 12 hours, and then you went to bed. So yeah, I'm not surprised you missed it. Yeah, Dr. Jones, Killick really try and get that Jamaican funky vibe, which they call hogo. But yeah, I just beautiful ease of drinking. I would, for an Australian rum, and it's also really affordable compared to a lot of the others, is Archie Rose's Triple Molasses. It's really fucking tasty. Really easy to drink. Really easy to drink. So for the person who drowned with long hair was no one famous. It was just an accident that happened. But yeah. So speaking of rum, I was going to make another video that is actually a rum drink. Where's my Trello? Across the Pacific. So they go with like a normal aged rum. They recommend Appleton Reserve, and then half an ounce of Smith and Cross, half an ounce of Averna Amaro, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, 3/4 of an ounce of orgeat. So it's the daiquiri template with a twist, and I reckon it's going to be really fucking yummy. And I maybe want to make it. It'll be a short, so it won't take. I just spent 17 minutes making that other one. This will be like 5 minutes. Mrs. Angry's maybe a day or two behind me, but she's also taking antivirals. She got prescribed antivirals. So she's got the horrible taste from the antivirals. So Musical Aviator missed a previous year online event because NBN disconnected. Damn. Oh, it showed you were online, but you'd actually been cut off. Dang. People were wondering what you were doing. What a hassle. Okay. I'm just going to double check. Dear Ford's Guide. It's a cross the Pacific cocktail. How do they reckon? In a rocks glass with ice. Crushed ice. Okay, I cannot be fucked crushing ice. I'm just going to shake it with ice and do a dirty dump into a glass. Hello, Dr. Abigail. Nice! Super poop. Oh, so you know that one, Dr. Jones? Yeah, it just looks really good across the Pacific. You know what? I think I'm maybe going to make it now. Won't take long. I'll set up first. So I just have to decide which rum. Oh, I'm going to use Smith and Cross. An aged rum. Okay. An aged rum. I might. What might I do? Diplomatica? They don't even do an age statement on this, I don't think. Spirit Brand of the Year, 2018. I do like it, though. What will we do now? What are we going to do? I'm going to... You know what? I'm going to do the Cuban rum. Fuck it. I've only got this because it's periodically on special. I've got all these whiskeys still here. I have to put them away. You're in the way, whiskeys. Your moment is done. Come on. Let's just get in there. What do we do now? What are we going to do? Okay. George, you have your place there. These two can also go into the mysterious cupboard of mystery. Yep. Alright. Okay. Got to move a couple of things. Oh. Get sorted. Get this shit sorted. I should move that. Anyway, I'm gonna put a couple of glasses over here. Alright. Alright. Did Shadow get COVID? We were joking about that because she sneezed the other day. Oh no, if you got cat COVID. Ah, well, Dr. Jones, the sex hats are in that cupboard. So, leave it to your imagination what goes on in that cupboard or what goes on with things that come out of that cupboard. In terms of spirits, it's the overflow thing. I was actually just thinking, because I actually have so many rum bottles there with just a little bit in them that I might start an infinity rum bottle. Yep, no, Sex Dungeons, Tired, Wired is the sex cupboard. It's at least got the sex hats in it, so. All right. So, I have decided. All right. Averna. Okay. I've got to go back into the mysterious cupboard of mystery, because that's where the Amari are. I think that's I think the plural of Amaro is Amari. Get better. Alright. 2 rums, an Amaro. Where's the Smith and Cross? Not much Smith and Cross left, actually. But I don't use it that often, so that's okay. Ooh, by the way, this. Look, I'm going to bring this over and show it. I decanted my barrel-aged blood orange liqueur. Now that looks opaque. It's actually clear. If you put some light behind it, it's clear. And it tastes really good. Got to make something with it. I just remembered it the other day and decanted it. Wait, what else do I need? It's rum, Verna, lime juice, orge, and bitters. Going to use my tiki bitters. Oh, nice. You prefer China. See, okay, I don't drink enough Amaro to really justify having a lot of different bottles. It was a big thing for me to get the fucking Averna because I normally just had Amaro Montenegro. But yes, a bunch of my friends recommend China, which is the big thing about it being an artichoke-based Amaro. It doesn't taste like artichoke, but they use artichoke leaves in the making of it, which is where you get people who love making puns in drink names come up with a drink that features China called an artichoke hold, which, good for a fun. But, okay, so I'm going to quickly make this. I think it will be quick. I don't think it'll take long. All right. We will put chickens in charge. Oh, there we go. Where's the other chicken? There. All right. We'll put the banner so everyone knows. Okay. All right. Bring this camera around here. Now, I think I do actually need to change these batteries now I think of it. Because I'd be super annoyed if they died. All right. That back there. Und that back there. Sacchino was your sub for a Werner. Did you have Werner? You preferred? Oh, there you go. That's cool. Look, there's several of the comic book movies I haven't watched. Mentioned that before. The ones I liked, Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, I like them and I haven't watched them. Okay. This. Right. Now, it's going to be shaken. Shake your booty. All right. Let's chill the glass for a bit, shall we? All right, I think that's just about perfect. We'll see. We'll do the dirty dump into the glass. I think there's a more polite name for it than that, but I don't care for politeness. Where my jig is at? There my jig is at. Okay, so probably need my phone to tell me what to do. Okay, now. Na. To the Trello and no, wait. Across the Pacific, that's what we want. Alright. Turn this on. Turn this on. Boom. Turn the light on. Hug the sun. That's interesting. Okay. All right, so that's boot ready. Right, I will just get these things ready. I'll take the stoppers out. Lime juice. Orgeat. Because I'm fancy, I pronounce it as if I'm French. And the recipe goes over here to this. Okay. Starting with 1 ounce of the Aged Rhum. All right. Ready to go. Oh, I actually just realized I'm arsing about there. Okay, turn that off. I'll turn this on. Gotta make it first. Get the close-ups of the making. Now, what is that saying? Kind of looks right. Right, let's go. Week not making these, I got out of my rhythm. Rum. Half an ounce of Averna. Lime juice. And orgeat. All right. Okie doke. So, dot. You put that in there, glass there, and this here. And I'll just make sure the glass is in a good spot for the video shot. All right, let's do this. Get better. Fuck. Exactly what I didn't want to do. Fuck. Alright. That's a done. That's a done. Put that up there. Turn up the sun. Alright, that needs to charge tomorrow. We're doing an Igor assistant for Halloween. I think I did do an Igor-ish video for Halloween last year. I didn't have the motivation to do it this year. Take a picture of this actually. What are we doing? Take a picture. It'll last longer. Whatever. All right. Turn that around. Turn that shit up. Oh God, I'm right on the verge of losing my voice. That's how little stamina I have. Okay. Oof, I'm definitely going to need to sit down after this. Chickens of the four Igors. I like that. Okay. How we going? That's ready. That's ready. Let's go. G'day cocktail lovers. This drink is called Across the Pacific and it follows basically the daiquiri template but with a little twist bringing in aperitivo, a style some people call aperitiki. And taste-wise, this is just fantastic. The extra depth to this drink is something else. Here's how we make it. In our shaker, we put 1 ounce or 30 mils of an aged rum, and then half an ounce of Smith & Cross overproof Jamaican rum or something similar. Then we're adding half an ounce or 15 mils of Amaro Averna, and then we're doing 3/4 of an ounce, around 22.5 mils of lime juice. Rounding things out, we're doing 3/4 of an ounce of orgeat. Add ice to the shaker, shake that good and hard for 10 or 15 seconds to chill and dilute the drink. You could serve this over crushed ice. I'm just doing a dirty dump into a rocks glass. This really transforms a daiquiri style drink as a really interesting take. You should try it. Across the Pacific. Cheers. Oof, that is making me so fucking tired. COVID, you motherfucker. God damn. Okay, let me get shit sorted and I'm just going to sit down because I am for real slightly dizzy right now. Oh. Oh, hooty loody 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 loo. Oh God, Justin, you are having a scheduled meeting with a teacher. God damn. I hope you get some sort of validation and closure, as they say. Because that was some fuckery on that teacher's part. But yeah. So, Dr. Jones, you've had 3 of-proof ROMs. Hamilton 151, Plantation OFTD, Smith and Cross 114. Oh, yeah. It's the thing. 151's like a gimmick. Like the bloody Inner Circle 151 I've got there is so full on. Smith and Cross is just a really tasty rum. Yeah, it's strong, but it's just really tasty. And I have had the OFTD as well, which is a fun joke for those who've never heard of it. It's an overproof rum. So 138 proof means it's it's what, 69. Yes, that's right. It's the funny number. It's 69% ABV. And they say on the label, the OFTD is an acronym for Old Fashioned Traditional Dark. But the folklore goes, when they first did a run of that, decided if it was going to be a worthwhile thing to do, their distiller or someone else got a taste off the barrel, sipped and went, oh, fuck, that's delicious, which they turned into OFTD, and they came up with a cleaner meaning for the acronym. This is really good. Actually, ow, fuck, I just hit a drawer with my knee. This is my little straw. I might actually drink this through a straw, so I don't have to worry about that ice. And flavor up my cherry and orange peel some more. Ugh. And then I'll have some soda water, but I am fucking tired. Oh God, suffer. Talking about Supermoon. Because we've been talking about the comic book movies. I thought you meant you'd been watching Superman movies last night and tonight. COVID peel. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Ugh. So Justin, your doctor said it's obvious of unresolved trauma. Oh, yeah. There's just move on tends to be bullshit. There are various therapeutic techniques to help you deal with unresolved trauma. But yeah, just move on isn't one of them. That's usually just repressing rather than dealing with a traumatic experience. Fuck, that's a nice drink. That is such a nice drink. Doesn't taste near as boozy as it is either. Super yummy. Oofed. I'm gonna crash tonight. This is my first alcohol in a week. Yeah, Safa, that is one manifestation of toxic masculinity. Just move on, just deal with it. Is dumb and bullshit and counterproductive. And yes, regional areas, the dudes aren't encouraged to be in touch with their feelings, in touch with their emotions, and to deal with trauma in a productive way. I had a little hair tie before. I don't know what to do with it. My hair's annoying me. I washed it today, and so it's all everywhere and floofy. Oh, tell you what. First alcohol in a week hits different. Oh, man. But the drinks are so tasty. That'll do me. And then I will drink some soda water for the rest of the stream. But that's a tasty little number. I feel, because this has worked so well as a sour, so it's just like a rum sour throw some Amaro in there. And I have made rum Hattons before, rum Manhattans. Manhattan is whiskey and sweet vermouth. Black Manhattan is whiskey and Amaro. I'm going to do a black rum. I'm sure I've done it before. But I feel like I might maybe make a black rum Hatton. Think which rums would go well with an Amaro. Oh yeah, no, Justin, unresolved trauma is terrible. It fucks you up. Dr. Jones, Campari, half a bar spoon. Oh, okay. So I fucking hate Campari. It's too bitter. But I do have Campari substitutes. I have different locally made bittersweet aperitivo that have a bit of that character, not as bitter as Campari. I mean, I tried really hard with Campari because, you know, what are the big hipster drinks? The fucking Negroni. And I don't like Negronis because too much Campari, man. Oh, yeah, Safa, lack of mental health care generally in the bush does not help at all. And again, I mean, you do get weirdos who say, oh, the only people who can possibly have post-traumatic stress disorder are war veterans, which I know is not what you're saying. But yes, veterans who don't get help for so long. But because Mrs. Angry works in the health system and counsels people, some people have had lifelong trauma. Like she has helped people in their 70s and 80s deal with something that happened when they were a teenager or a preteen, which they had never dealt with and has fucked up their whole life. Other ones, like she deals with people who are refugees or asylum seekers from war zones that our foreign policy is responsible for. You know, people who've been civilians in war or, you know, lost family members, people just with terrible trauma. And she helps them. She has a real job. She has a real job where she does real things. I'm kind of okay with my day job at the moment, but honestly, it's not as much. Okay. I see. Okay, so you think Negronis are too bitter and too sweet. I guess I don't drink a lot of super sweet drinks, but sweet is not such a problem for me. I feel like you're being sarcastic there, Strictly Sega, although I'm not sure. I having met some veterans who were, you know, in management roles at RSLs, some veterans do actually do very productive things at RSL clubs. Others, not so much. Just blocking it out with alcohol and gambling addiction as a distraction. I see. Also, Dr. Jones, the thing with Negronis, one of the places Mrs. Angry and I really like going for date night, it's just called Rip and Lee Food and Wine. It's right next to Rip and Lee Station, which is why we like going there. Accessible by public transport, so we can, you know, have drinks and still get home without having to pay for a taxi. But they are really into Negronis, and we went there once, and this was actually this was pre-COVID actually. They were having Negroni week. They were doing all these Negroni variations, and we were like, you know what? We tried to like Negronis, and the two bit, you guys love them so much, and you've done all these variations. All the variations had Campari in them. They were very into the Campari. We tried 3 or 4 of their variations, and it was just like, no, fuck this, no, not having it. So it's kind of like the 2 most popular cocktails in Melbourne. I just don't like. The mainstream one is espresso martini. And I don't drink coffee. And honestly, the espresso martini is just a shit drink. Again, talk about too sweet, but also coffee. Yeah. So the mainstream thing that everyone gets is an espresso martini. People I know who work in bars talk about having to make so many of them on big nights. But the hipster drink is the Negroni. And I don't like the Negroni because I don't like Campari. So I don't like the two most popular. And that sounds like I'm trying to be a fucking elitist, or I'm not. I just don't like them. You like a drink called a siesta, only 1/4 ounce Campari. Well, now I'm going to look that up. It's to be fair, strictly Sega, you have to go back to the 90s and noughties where Vietnam veterans were really active in the RSL. There may have been some productive again, going from a kind of position where okay, I've got Difford's Guide open. Siesta. I'm gonna see if they have this recipe in here. Siesta cocktail. Bittersweet aperitivo. Sounds like what you're talking about. Reposado tequila. Oh yeah, 1/4 ounce of Campari, 1/4 ounce lime juice, 1/4 ounce pink grapefruit juice, 1/4 ounce. Honestly, again, I mean, I'd probably like that. I would just use my Campari substitute, and I would probably like that. That's like a variation of a margarita, basically. Instead of it's a more bitter margarita. Instead of putting orange liqueur in, you're putting the bittersweet aperitivo. So yeah, that's a more bitter margarita. That could be quite good. Again, I wouldn't use Campari because I mean, like you use Blanco tequila. That's cool. That's okay. So that's going to have a bit more tequila, depending which one you use. It's going to have a bit more tequila. Oh, Trixie Sega. Everyone loves espresso martinis. I'm not saying that as a poo-poo thing. It's literally just I don't like coffee, and espresso martinis are for people who like coffee. Yeah. People I know who work bars talk about having to make dozens, if not hundreds, of them in a night because people just keep ordering espresso martinis. I mean, to show I'm not a snob, the bloody one of the places Mrs. Anger and I go called Arcadia, they have this dessert style cocktail that's a riff on a porn star martini, but so much better. And it is, without doubt, the best dessert style cocktail I've ever had. It's like fucking amazing. Passion fruit. I think they just call it a passion fruit white chocolate martini. Holy shit, it's good. Like 9.5 out of 10. It's fucking incredible. And you see when groups are there, they really go for it. Oh, strictly say you're boarding a plane. Oh, dude, I need to know if you get a good view of the supermoon from the sky. I have no idea if you will or not. I don't know how that works. But yeah, Tuesday or later in the week, I want to hear if you got a good view of the supermoon from a plane. Oh, Dr. Jones, I friggin' love martinis. There are various ways to ease yourself in. Because with your absolute classic dry martini, you have to love gin, right? Because it's mostly gin, a little bit of vermouth. But there's a variety of ways to ease yourself into martinis. And one is to get a wet martini, which is more vermouth, or a dirty martini, with some olive brine in there, if you like olives and whatnot. I got, like, I don't know how many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I would not have believed I'd get so into like bone dry martinis. Icy cold, which is why I have my freezer martini. I haven't had even a taste of my freezer martini for a couple of weeks. Later this week, when I'm feeling better, I might have a freezer martini. But I've developed such a taste for them. When I go to a venue and I order, my one is a dry martini with a twist of lemon. When they've made it really well, to me, it's almost like water. It's so clean and pure, and it's just like I just go, oh my god, that's just like this really bracing water. I'm sure a non-martini drinker would go, "What the fuck are you talking about? You fucking lunatic! That's like lighter fluid. What the fuck are you talking about?" It's an acquired taste. Dirty is good. I've mentioned this before. The thing Mrs. Angry and I like doing on date nights is when we're in martini mood, we order 2 martinis, one dry, one dirty, and we just swap sip for sip. Like actually swapping sips between a dry martini and a dirty martini. Like a dry martini is really bracing and oof, and a dirty martini is really salty. And just the swap between the two is friggin' awesome. Oh, Justin, you've watched from a plane. Neat. Pat, how you doing? Big Pat. Just hanging, dude. Ooh. Almost finished the booze for the night. Ah, gosh, great gosh almighty. So, Mrs. Angry and I are going away next. I'm so glad I got sick last week, not this week, because we're going away next weekend. Melbourne Cup Day's on Tuesday, so I've taken leave on the Monday as well, so we can have a 4-day weekend. Going away, there'll be booze. If you're on the Discord, you might see some pictures. But there won't be live streams. There won't be live streams Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. I'll be back on Tuesday. There might be a live stream on Tuesday night, but I might be fucked. So there might be a really long gap between live streams, is what I'm saying. Might be a gap of a week between live streams. Like I'll probably do one on Thursday, night, but not necessarily. But then I might not do one till Thursday the following week. So I hope you'll survive without me. Probably you could do with a break from me, quite honestly. So I can pretty confidently say I'll do a live stream on Tuesday night because I always have this disclaimer. I might be doing takeaway with the offspring, but just COVID caution. I won't be interacting with people unnecessarily this week. So I probably won't be doing a takeaway night with the offspring this week. I didn't last week because of COVID. Probably won't this week because of COVID. So I'll be quite keen to catch up with them the following week. I've like scratched my arm here. Well, that was a mistake, wasn't it? Now my arm's bleeding. Ooh, bottle of Nolly Pratt. You don't need a break. Well, see, that's where we go. What's the? I think it's. We're talking tiki drinks. The El Presidente, I think, uses dry vermouth, and it's such a good drink. So, Pat, you're swapping between accounts here. Just trying to look it up. Presidente. I'm just gonna doubly check. Yeah, not that an El Presidente uses a lot of dry vermouth. At least Difford's says split between dry and Bianco. I wouldn't do that. I would just do the Nolly Pratt as the vermouth element. So an El Presidente is a light rum, vermouth, orange curacao, sweet. Well, this recipe says a tiny bit of sweet vermouth, grenadine, bitters. El Presidente is fucking rock, and you can play with that template a lot. But yeah, Dr. Jones, if you're not super into martinis and you want to use up your Nolly Pratt, do like 50-50 martinis just to ease yourself into it, like half gin and half your Nolly Pratt extra dry. I honestly think if you've got a good gin and match it with a Nolly Pratt, I reckon that'd be, as a 50-50, I reckon that'd be a good drink. Be really cold. You want it really cold. So you got to, on ice, stir it for like 25, 30 seconds. Icy cold is the fucking thing for me. Hey, honey, how you doing? Honey, Justin, you just want to join an international flight? I mean, yeah, man. Why not? All right, that's all. Yeah, come on. God, it's 9:30. All right. Have little bottles of soda water. I'm going to have a little bottle of soda water. Yeah, kind of like a Manhattan. So a Manhattan and a martini are the same category of drink, spirit and aromatized wine. And you can play with that to your heart's content and see what works. Because it's not just dry and sweet vermouth. There's a whole spectrum of aromatized wines. And yes, a Manhattan is whiskey and sweet vermouth traditionally. Martini is gin and dry vermouth traditionally. But, a perfect Manhattan is whiskey and a even split of sweet and dry vermouth. Gin and sweet vermouth is sometimes called a sweet martini or a pink martini, red martini. I've even seen it listed as a drink called gin and it. And I believe the it is a reference to Italian vermouth. But yeah, man, and then play with you can play with all things like, well, how does rum work with vermouth? How does an agave spirit work with vermouth? I friggin' love experimenting. Oh, and speaking of experimenting, in fact, 2 local distillers have done this, I found out. But one who I really like, Patient Wolf Gin Distillery, they have done an agave-based gin. And I got to taste it at the gin festival I went to, which is where I probably got COVID. But it's friggin' awesome because this spirit legit has characteristics of gin and characteristics of tequila. It was great. I think, doesn't everyone have internet on the international flights? I don't know. I have not flown internationally for years, so I don't know. I kind of thought everyone had internet on international flights, though. But someone who's more of a jet setter than me might be able to answer that. Oh yeah. We're just cruising along. Actually, I'm going to do a fun thing here. I'm on the Difford site, and they have a cocktail finder thing. So if I just say what I have is dry vermouth, a dry vermouth. How many cocktails? 471 cocktails with dry vermouth. Top rated, of course, a martini. Martinez, which is an interesting one. I think Martinez predates the martini. Poet's Dream. Oh, a Clover Club. That's a good one. If you've never, I feel like Dr. Jones, you've probably done a Clover Club. But that's dry gin with raspberry jam and dry vermouth and lemon juice and egg white. So it's a gin's. It's a mashup of a martini and a gin sour. And the fact that you sweeten it with jam, you're only limited by your imagination what jam do. Pat, I'm good, buddy. How you doing? You've never had an international flight? I thought they all do now. Oh, nice, Justin. Get upgraded to business class. I've never done business class. That would rock, though. I've only ever flown and I've not flown often, quite honestly. Yeah, I thought you'd know them, Dr. Jones. Clover Club and the Martinez, both good drinks. But what's this one? Poet's Dream. Gin. Oh, Benedictine. Okay, that's basically a 50-50 martini, and you put some Benedictine in as well. Man, that would be fucking great. Honestly, I reckon that would be really good. And you could experiment. You put your China in that. I think 50-50. You should try it, Dr. Jones. 50-50 dry gin, your dry vermouth, and about half an ounce of China. I reckon that would be really good. A variant on the Poet's Dream. I love how the herbal and aromatic liqueurs and amari. As I was saying earlier, I think the plural of amaro is amari because it's Italian. Like when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amari. Pat, how am I doing? I'm doing okay. I'm getting over the COVID. I got a little bit of congestion. I have a little bit of a problem with stamina at the moment. Like I made just making the videos. Also, I'm drinking alcohol for the first time in a week, and that kind of hits different when you had a week off drinking alcohol. And just making the video and projecting with energy and whatnot sapped my stamina. I do not have a lot of stamina anymore. So and there are, of course, all the Manhattan variants. A Brooklyn is whiskey and a split of dry and sweet vermouth, Amer Pecan, maraschino liqueur. I want to do Melbourne versions of the Manhattan. I think I'm going to work this out with Kirsten one day. What would be all the different areas of Australia and what Australian spirits and liqueurs would we put in based on the different areas of Australia? And when I say Australia, I probably mean Melbourne and Sydney, but get a Qantas credit card. Yeah, that's a thing, I suppose. But I'm a grumpy old man now. I don't know if I want to be on international flights. I'm still working on, winning lotto. Let's see. Where's my phone? What is it? It's 9:30. Okay, cross the Pacific. Fuck you, phone. Cross the Pacific. That's in doing. You're going to look up something on the socials. Wowzers. Okay. Bukidu. Oh, and again, apropos of nothing, recommendations again. Last stream, I recommended Bodies, which I did finish, and they didn't fuck up the ending. Overall, really quite good. New limited series, 8 episodes on Netflix. Bodies, cross between British murder mystery, cop crime procedurals, and the X-Files, basically. Quite enjoyed it. Really well made. good performances. They didn't fuck up the ending, which is always when you're doing something where it gets a bit weird. I always worry that they'll fuck up the ending, which is why I think I've never really got into horror movies. Because I honestly think more than 90% of horror movies absolutely fuck up the ending. I think they have really disappointing endings. But Bodies did fairly well. And today, just like Mrs. Angry and I were slumping about, watched a couple things, but we did watch a movie called The Woman Queen, inspired by these female warriors from West Africa. It's a fictional story, but it's inspired by real warriors. Quite an entertaining movie. Lots of very interesting choreographed fighting in it. I would recommend that as well. Pretty intense, but I was surprised at how unbloody it was, given that lots of fighting with swords and spears and whatnot. They chose not to be extremely bloody with it. But I found it quite entertaining, and I also think the choreographers had a really good time with it. So quite entertaining. I would recommend it as worth your time. The Woman Queen. Oh yeah, no. Oh God, Dr. Jones, I absolutely agree. When you're recovering from illness, it's just like, ugh. And it's like, because Wednesday was my low point. Even though I actually did that stream on Wednesday night, I was really tired and fucked for most of Wednesday. And that was my only day of isolation because Mrs. Angry tested positive Thursday morning. So then I didn't have to isolate. It's like, good, I didn't have to isolate. Because if Mrs. Angry hadn't tested positive, I would still be isolating now. And my mood would be... I feel bad that I gave Mrs. Angry COVID, but not isolating is pretty fucking good. Because we don't have... Well, my offspring have their own place. Mrs. Angry's lad stays here half the time, and because he's doing his end of year exams and stuff at uni, he's just staying away for a while. So when we're both tested positive for COVID, we just have the run of the house, which is nice. Because being quarantined in the bedroom sucks. Last time I had it, I did it. Young Mr. Angry isolated in this room. I isolated my room. And it worked. Neither young Ms. Angry or Mrs. Angry got COVID. But this time, I did everything a day late, and that was enough time for Mrs. Angry to get infected, which I feel bad about. But, I apparently didn't infect anyone at work, which is good. I went into the office on Tuesday afternoon. I realized I was blowing my nose a lot, and I started to get really tired. And I went home a little bit early, and the tiredness was catching up with me on the tram, and I had to walk from the tram stop, and that fucked me. And it was warmish. It was 25 Celsius. By the time I got home, I was so fucked. I was just tired and whatnot. So 3 cheers for working from home, because if I'd had to go into the office, I would have just called in sick. I would have been on sick leave. Because there's no way. The extra effort and strain of getting public transport in the city, new. Justin, Mrs. Angry's doing okay. Mentioned earlier, she's got antivirals as well. I think that's because she works in the health system. When she went to a GP, it was a telehealth thing, to get a certificate for being off work. They also said, you should get antivirals. Here's a prescription. So she's been taking the antivirals, which she's pretty sure are helping. It's her first round of COVID, and she's been feeling it more than I have. Same thing, congested and fatigue. So that's why we spent this weekend was just a lot of vegging out. I did get some takeaway last night from a Mexican place, which was just fucking awesome. And ultimate comfort food. But yeah, fortunately, it's been mild for both of us. So that 2 thumbs up for that. More mild for me than for Mrs. Angry, actually. This has been less severe than my first COVID bout, which was pretty mild, quite honestly. I had a cold 2 weeks ago. That was more fucked than this COVID round. Just weirdly, I get a cold, and I was kind of fucked around for about a week by this cold, and then I get over it, and then I get COVID. Oh, what a bunch of bullshit, honestly. Dr. Jones, that generally tends to be the rules. Women are a bit more proactive than men. It's just like men's health suffers so badly from the dude tendency to go, oh, I'm fine, I'll be fine. It's like, no. And I learned, like, I had a couple of weird things this year, and they were very different, very unrelated. One was in my leg, in my shin, just this absurd pain that was crippling me. What is that? So I went to a GP to see about that, and he did a few tests and worked out I had an ultrasound, so I worked out what it was, and I got the appropriate medication to fix it. And so that was good, because it could have been something really, really bad that, the worst case scenario is amputation. Ended up being handled. And then I had one in like my gut that kind of felt like a muscle strain, but it wasn't going away, and went to the same. And this was just after the thing in my shin cleared up. And I went back to the GP. Hey, something completely different. It feels like a muscle strain and it's not going away. And he did poke some prod and he goes, I think I know what it is. And what he thought it was actually pretty bad, like not cancer bad, but it's a thing called diverticulitis, which is fucked. And if you actually have it, you maybe have to take medication for the rest of your life. But then we did a few more tests and ultrasounds and whatnot. And it's like, no, it's something else, which is actually much more benign, but actually presents like diverticulitis. So I just had to take some anti-inflammatories and whatnot, and that went away. So that was a huge fucking relief. But yeah, I've tried to commit to don't be the dude who's got some pain going on, going, oh, it's fine, I'll be fine. No, go and see your doctor and go, what the fuck is this? What is this? So I'm trying to defy that dude-ish thing to not talk to a doctor. It's like when I had this lower back thing, I went and saw the physio, because first I thought it happened just after I had the cold, and it's almost like it feels like it's in my kidneys. Like, could I have got a kidney infection from the cold? But I went to a physio and he did prod, and he going like, no, I can feel it. There's some swelling there. And he did some really gentle stuff. And he said also, do these exercise, take this anti-inflammatory. Lo and behold, went away. I had a couple of physio appointments, like only like 2, 3, and he did really gentle things. And I did these exercises and anti-inflammatories and went away. So it's like, yay, taking control of my health, not letting being a dude kill me. So, and so far, yeah, look, it depends if you're a glass half full or a glass half empty person. I have had multiple different health things, which you could say unlucky, but they were all managed and they didn't turn anything nasty. So glass half full, lucky. Behemoth in the good old US of A, cost of healthcare on top of dude bro. Yes. No. Oh, for real. These antivirals that Mrs. Angry got for COVID, I forget how much she paid for them, some tens of dollars. But the base price, which is the price you would pay in the US for them, was over $1,000. So what Mrs. Angry paid some tens of dollars for would have cost over $1,000 in the US. It's like, holy shit. So that's a whole thing. What's it called? Paxlovid. It's it's a fairly common one that's prescribed. Behemoth, I read these stories about the number of people who declare bankruptcy solely because of medical bills in the US, and it blows my mind. Rain, hello. How are you doing? Thank you for the inquiry. I am 80% recovered. Only a tiny bit of congestion. I still not past the fatigue stuff. Well, Dr. Abigail, when you say inflated, because the pharmaceutical companies are a bunch of fucking criminals, yeah. I mean, what was the worst one? That piece of shit who ended up actually getting convicted of crimes. I think he got jail time. Martin Shkreli, farmer bro, just arbitrarily increased the price of a really important medication by 1,000%. Dude, thankfully, I've never had a bad fever. At my low point was probably last Wednesday, and Tuesday night and parts of Wednesday, I maybe had a very mild fever. Wednesday, I had the shivers a couple of times. And that was fucking surreal. Just having this thing where you're uncontrollably shivering and what the fuck? What is this? And then I would just get in bed and pull blankets on and just go, oh, and it would go away. Justin, the pharmaceutical benefit scheme does spend a lot, but it's fucking awesome. So, Rain, you had a COVID episode 4 week. Oof, dude, that fucking sucks, man. This one is looking kind of manageable, mild for me. I'm a week in now. Like it's Sunday. I almost definitely got exposed to it last Sunday. And it started manifesting on Tuesday afternoon. And then I tested positive Wednesday morning. So it's a whole thing. There's more COVID everywhere. Like people pretending COVID's not a thing, and it fucking is killing so many people. Queensland doubled the number of hospitalizations in a week. Shivers make you think of R2-D2 in the Old West. Oof. No, Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven. And just saying that out loud makes me want to watch that movie again. That was such a good movie. Safa, how often do I have Sunday roast? Like never. So your previous rounds were two weeks, but you never took sick leave. I also did not take sick leave, but it's just because I could work from home. No, Justin, Americans are not paying for medicine to be subsidized in other countries. Americans are just being fucking extorted by these thoroughly evil companies. The governments in some countries subsidize medicine, and they do occasionally say to these pharmaceutical companies, you say, oh, well, we want to charge this. It's like, how about go fuck yourself and come back with a reasonable price, or we'll just produce generic knockoffs. Tomorrow, sorry, Dr. Abigail, tomorrow is not a public holiday. The following week, the Tuesday, is a public holiday in Melbourne. Rain, yes, doing IT shit with a fever. It's kind of like you feel like you're okay, and then you maybe go, I can't focus or I can't sustain this for an extended period. Because it's like, fucked. My mum would cook Sunday roast sometimes. There's the whole thing about how I didn't eat anything when I was a kid because I was weird. Dr. Abigail, you have to take your old cat to the vet. Oof. Yeah. Hopefully the vet can help you with that. So, Rain, you had to write down IPs on a sheet of paper, triple check. Yeah. Oh, fever and feeling unwell when you have to concentrate on stuff. Like a lot of my work requires brain power and being coherent. And that was a bit of a challenge in the last week. Oh, okay. You need help. Will's away. You can't bend over when you come from surgery. Okay. I would offer to help. I am really cautious. And the like COVID guidelines, I shouldn't interact with other people, particularly not someone who's been through surgery for a little while. Because while I'm feeling improved, I can feel that I'm definitely still. Oh, good. I'm so glad you've got someone local who can help, because I would like to, but I just worry it's a very bad idea for me at the moment. Oh gosh, I had a couple of online meetings that were kind of important this week, and I would just tell people at the start of them, hey, I've got COVID, so if I make even less sense than normal, that's the reason. And I might have to switch off my microphone and maybe my camera occasionally if I have a coughing or sneezing fit, because that happens. And I did have to do that, but people were quite understanding and quite agreeable about it. I don't think I had the shivers on any of the meetings. Like I said, it did happen a couple times on Wednesday, but I was, that was the day I was isolating in the bedroom. And it was like, oh, what the fuck's going on? Oh, I'm just going to go lie in bed and I'm going to pull some blankets over me and just do this. I'm just going to do this. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck's this about? So, yeah. It's, oofed. It was a whole thing. And I've got an intern I'm looking after, but I actually told him last week, said, look, out of deference to keeping everyone safe, I'm not going into the office on Monday and Tuesday. The intern comes in on Monday and Tuesday. I said, look, come in on Monday. When you're in, we'll catch up on Teams. We'll talk about the day and whatnot, and we'll work out Tuesday as well. Oh. But now I got to. I did make a mocktail this afternoon, and the milk clarification bit of it is being difficult, but it's got a tea base. This is what I was talking about on the stream last week, what to do, and some ideas of how to make non-alcoholic penicillin mocktail, which normally like whiskey and ginger, honey, and lemon. But these teas, this is a lemon, ginger, manuka honey, and this one's elderberry and echinacea. So they're like the base, and then a ginger syrup and a honey syrup and citrus juice, and then milk clarify that. And in fact, I got to finish here soon and go and check on that before bedtime and see how it's going, because the milk clarification process is being weirdly difficult. I'm actually hopeful this is quite a tasty drink when it's milk clarified. We'll see. I actually do that tomorrow. But look, okay, it's just coming up on 10, so oh, I might bail. I think I've burnt through all the stamina I have. Do a ceremonial eating of the cherry. Rejoice in the fact I don't have to go into the office tomorrow. I'm just going to work from home. Oh my god, those cherries are so fucking yummy. Pulling all the blankets over her face like Arthur, hoping it cures ailment circa 1900. Oh, it's just at certain points, just wrapping yourself up in a little cocoon, I don't know, might not be curing anything, but definitely has some psychological benefits. My god, those cherries are so friggin' yummy. Okay, I am going to go sleepy bobos. I'm going to check on my milk clarifying mocktail before I go to bed to see what the fuck it's doing, because it's being, in my mind, unnecessarily difficult. But either way, I hope you find people look after yourselves. Almost definitely going to be doing a Tuesday night stream because, like I said, probably not going to visit Le Offspring because there's still too much of a risk I'd pass on COVID. So probably minimize my contact with other humans for the coming week. At least face to face. There are different things that happen over the internet, but I'm going to go. I can really feel tiredness just crashing down on me. So take care, one and all. I hope to see you again sometime soon.